Today's topic is actually excellence. Let me get my graphic ready. All right. Real Leader Brain looking like Dapper Dan over there. Good morning, Daisy. Okay, so the neuroscience behind excellence. And I would just like to say that everything that I am teaching is based upon, number one, real leadership. Number two, the principles of real leadership. Number three, firsthand experience in my 52 years of being here in life. Neuroscience, I'm in my 5th neuroscience course, as well as the information that ChatGPT and I gather together. Yes, ma'am. And you are. You're at the beginning, at level 1 to get that done. So everything I say is based upon that. And I was going to wait till I got to YouTube, but I'm going to say it here because some of you may not make it over to YouTube today. Yesterday, if you were on a YouTube live, my live stopped abruptly. And I didn't know what had taken place. So I went back on live just to say bye. So I figured I said something because this happened here on TikTok. And so I said something. I've gotten in TikTok timeouts where I couldn't do something for 10 minutes. Whole live got shut down once. I had to hurry up and get off because of excitableness coming from an external source. And so here's the thing about me. Don't start none, won't be none. But I am from the school of error and opportunity. So if you leap, you're going to find out. And I had this conversation with my amazing offspring after it was over. We have a strategy in place because the people that are now attempting to say things to me, they're not trolls. They're actually QEs. And so we call them that because I went to a CTA, I was in a CTA high school, been around smart kids since the 6th grade. And so they like to challenge you. They like to challenge the instructor and everybody else to show how smart they are because they naturally have a high IQ. So we call them QEs. And what my amazing progeny explained to me yesterday, because I said that felt different. It's not a troll, because I know how to handle a troll. 830 some days on live, I can handle trolls. But what the QEs are doing is they are trying to do what, and this is a very technical term, so some of you might want to write this down, stump the teacher. That's why they keep showing up now, because I have actually elevated past the appearance of a life coach, a expert, a thought leader, a podcaster, and now I have entered into what they believe is their territory, education. Even though I have a doctorate in education, they believe I've entered into their territory. So what they were doing, and I've had this conversation with Chat. Chat was like, ignore them, block them, or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm not cut from that cloth. So I challenged them, and then they doubled down. And the person yesterday, whatever I was saying, my live on YouTube got shut down. And then this morning I got a notification, well, the video is going to stay up there, but it will be limited ads because we reviewed it and what you said is not for all advertisers. I said, okay, cool. They said you want to appeal it? Absolutely not. I said what I said and I stand on what I said. It's one video. I got 12,700 some YouTube videos. I don't care about that. I meant what I said and I'm okay with that. But I needed a strategy because y'all know I told y'all don't do anything without a strategy. Don't have a why and don't have a strategy. So it kept feeling for me like it's random. It's random. So I needed a strategy for them because when she told me that it was QEs, I laughed continuously. Somebody with a high IQ, they're trying to be smarter than me. Oh, they think they're going to intellectualize me. Roger that. Okay, so now I have a process for all of the people who would like, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to reveal it to you now. So here's what we're going to do going forward. Just because I don't want a live to stop and I'm in the middle of attempting to give you all some information and now you can't get it because the live got cut off. So it's for your benefit. So what we now have is Chat and I made this amazing graphic. Real Leader Brain is standing from high-tech floating glass board. And we're going to do what I call a credential check. So going forward, when someone presents themselves as an expert, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and we're going to pull out this slide. And I'm going to tell them, oh, because when I was in the military, we do PT. Sometimes we didn't have a good enough workout. And so I would say, yes, instructor. And they would say, yes, instructor. And then I would go to the front, assume command. And then I would go to smoking the shit out of them, which is basically TikTok is literally making them do extra exercises, extra flutter kicks, extra push-ups, and then I would go back to the rear of the formation as the commander. So now, in order for someone to be a guest educator, they got to be one of my peers, because grow continually and leverage experts are 2 of the 74 principles of real leadership. So if someone actually has value-added information for us to become excellent, I'm okay with that. But they have to do this credential check. And so as soon as they present as an expert, I'm pulling out this credential check graphic immediately. And in order for them to continue and stay, they must have, that's 3 green check marks. They must have a doctorate in something. It could be in EDD or PhD. They must tell me what the topic of their dissertation was, and they must tell me what they are currently researching. Because what I don't want is talking to someone with a master's degree. You are not my peer. And then, if you have a doctorate, PhD or EDD, I want to know what your dissertation was about. If your dissertation was about something with civil engineering, you have to have a doctorate in something that I'm talking about. You got to be talking about what I'm talking about. So you can't have a PhD in supply chain optimization. You are not a good fit. I ran a whole traffic center. I've been through a whole supply chain in Frito-Lay. We don't need what you got. And then thirdly, because people with doctorates will stop and they will not continue their research. So you actually still need to be conducting research to be over here. And what that is going to do is that is going to, and this is another technical term. Let me go ahead and switch back to my graphic for today. There we go. Dapper Real Leader Brain. What that is actually going to do, number one, is going to let them know, I'm prepared for you. You ain't even the first person coming trying to stump the teacher. And now I'm prepared for you. The question is, are you prepared for me? Because yesterday, the person would not answer. They just kept spewing rhetoric. They literally just kept talking about this article that they read, because people with high IQs believe that they're smarter than you. And what no one has done is check the people with the high IQs. They come in with their little stupid 15-syllable words, make everybody feel stupid, and they leave. And what they are not expecting is a credential check. Just like you go to the club and they check your ID if you're old enough to get in, or if you want to go to the VIP, hold up, I need to see your room. As I said, that penthouse button that you got to have some keys and some other stuff to get to yesterday. Because this is my life. This is my in-life classroom. Good morning, Jared. And you're not about to come and try to stump the educator. That's not what is about to take place. Now, if you actually have all of those credentials, and I don't believe that there will be anybody online that will pass all 3 of those, that's why it's check, 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 then you can stay. But if they don't start with, here is what my doctorate is in, here is what my dissertation was on, and here is what my current research is in, you're getting removed. Because I didn't have a strategy for it, and I didn't know where it was coming from. I was like, why are they checking me? Back in the day, when they used to check in sneakers, people were so bad that they would have a clipboard. If you had the sneakers on that they wanted, they would be like, check them in, and you'd be walking home barefoot. So I'm doing a credential check. Checking in. Checking in to see if you would like to be a guest instructor that I didn't ask you to contribute. You're going to identify yourself. HALT. Identify yourself. Tapping into me being a former military police officer. Who is you? Who is you? Because you over here, I didn't come. That's what I told the person yesterday. Where is yours? Because you over here in mine. So I want to make sure I return the favor and come to where you are. I want to come to where you are and put real leadership stuff in the comments. That's what I want to do. And the person couldn't do that. Now, I wasn't paying attention to what I said. I don't care that the video, it literally has less monetization. It's one video. But now I have a strategy for them because they are a disruption. And their whole objective is to appear smarter than me. Is to IQalize, to let me know I don't know what I'm talking about, because that's what people with high intellect do. They go back and forth, letting each other know instead of who's bigger, who's smarter. But that dog don't hunt over here because I have a doctorate in education. I'm me, and I'm like that. So what? I don't care what physically it presents as. Go look at my LinkedIn because I'm like that and continually becoming even more like that. So they're not going to disrupt you. They're not going to disrupt me. They're not going to stop my live from continuing because you need that information. I wasn't finished talking. So I'm not about to get excitable about someone who is not my peer, because that's what I'm doing. I have a doctorate. On my dissertation, I'm still furthering my research based upon Robert Northhouse path goal theory from way back in 2006 when I started my dissertation. So I'm 20 years in on high performance. You want to look it up, Robert Northhouse path goal theory. It talks about 4 different categories. It's situationally dependent. And how do you create high performance teams? And now I'm saying, how do you create high performance adults with all that extra 20 years worth of information? So I'm still, from the original research, improving it by 20 years. That's what I'm doing. So I wrote my book. I went and did firsthand observations, gathered a bunch of other information, and now circling back because I have new information, and the problem is the brain. So for the last 15 months, I have been studying the brain every day. That's what I've been doing. So some person with a 7,000 IQ score, and I know you can't have that, but that's how they're sitting, cannot come and say anything to the group without checking in and doing a credential check. So what I'm going to say in the future, whether it's on TikTok or YouTube, I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a credential check. And I'm going to keep having that slide very much in the front, just like I have the questions and the levels. And when those people decide to show up to do a credential check, I'm going to be very calm, cool as the other side of the pillow, and they will need to answer those questions. And they will not have all live to answer those questions. And that's going to shoo, poo them away. And then word on the street is, don't go over there with your little, you read some white papers on the Johns Hopkins website, and now you think you're a neuroscientist. We are not the same. Now, with that being said, we are doing the 4-question format live for today, and you are going to be answering 4 questions about excellence for yourself. Okay, so the first question is, what is your definition of excellence? And remember, before you answer, ellipse, thinking emoji, buffer, so that you can wire your brain to think before you respond, to access your inhibition control and strengthen it in the executive function of your brain. So slow your brain down, process it, and then answer the question. What is your definition of excellence? And for the new viewers here today, the reason why I ask for your definition is because unconsciously or implicitly, you are operating with your own dictionary, your own personal lexicon and meaning of words. And when you start to think about, what is my definition of excellence? That's different than Webster's and Merriam's and Oxford's and Dr. Donna and Chat and everybody else, Perplexity and Gemini and Copilot and all of them. What's your definition of excellence? Because that is the definition that you actually operate in any definition that you have. And I have a bunch of words because I thought about this yesterday before I had my dinner. What is my definition of excellence? And it's more kind of concepts than just a sentence. So Jared and Denise are thinking. I have a flash goal. What is that? All right, I have a flash goal. Pin it to the top. And let's see how that goes. Best execution protocol is what Jared said. Thank you for that. Doing things completely every time is what Denise said. And I didn't know that flash goal was going to sit at the bottom like that. Did anybody else say anything else? Can I move this? I can't. See, that's why I don't do this, because now this is interfering. Oh, it went down. Thank you. Can y'all still see it? Okay. Thank you, Jared, if I didn't say thank you. Bridget is thinking. And the reason why I chose this is because we started talking about excellence, and you need to have your definition of excellence at the forefront of your mind. Like somebody asks you what your name is, and you say Brenda Jones. Excellence has to be right up here, sitting right up here, ready to go very quickly, because then it's going to be in everything that you do. Lacey, are you there? Tiffany, are you there? I know you were there initially, because once Bridget says hers, then I will give you mine. Excellence for me. And so Lacey, you have to do it separately. So don't, going forward, I've noticed that you do that. Good morning, Desmond. So Lacey, you have to put the ellipse first and then create another comment so that they're actually separate. So if you put them together, then I don't know. So by doing it first, I know who can answer, because sometimes people are listening at work and sometimes they're driving. So it's ellipse and then your answer. So there should be, so you had the gap and you thought about it, but you put them together. All right. Excellence for me is doing my absolute best with all my God-given abilities and mine. Desmond is thinking. Gotcha. Yes. So you can do whatever Bridget does, a buffering emoji. It's just because I can't see y'all. If we were in person, then I would know, because you'd be looking up. You go, okay. You'd be thinking, why she asked that? I ain't even never thought about it. Excellence as a definition. There's a pop quiz already. It's too early. No, most of y'all are on the East Coast, or at least 2 hours ahead of me. Daisy, my definition of excellence, Tiffany is not. She is on my side of town, on my side of the Mississippi. My definition of excellence is always doing my best. And good morning, Nurse Wells. Would you like me to call you Nurse Wells, or would you like me to use a different name? Bridget said, 100 out of 100 is yours, Jared. You're updated. Yes, sir. Presenting yourself as the best version of yourself with intent. Okay. That's fine. Okay, great. The question is, what is your definition of excellence this morning? My absolute best at all times with my whole heart and mind. And you did it again, Lacey. Your bird is like, we're going to put it together. We're going to put it together. You only got to do it once for each question. Okay. All right. And Desmond, sir, your definition, is it coming? That's it. Yes. And I'm sorry, I forgot Nurse Wells is answering. I'm not used to this many people answering the question. This is amazing. Thank you all for being here this morning. Excellence. And y'all know that a gospel song, how excellent, and it goes, is thy name. I changed it to thy brain. Yes. Walking in alignment and doing it to the best of my abilities. All right. And Desmond, sir. Every time I say your name, I picture Desmond from high school. I know you all look absolutely nothing alike. And I can't think of his last name. I'll have to go back and look at my yearbook. I guess at 35 years, you might forget a couple people's last name. I'm going to listen on too. All right. I posted right before Nurse Wells. Did you? Oh, it didn't show, Desmond. Try one more time. Sometimes it doesn't put it in there. Try reword it, because sometimes if TikTok doesn't like the words, it won't post it. Or everybody has had this experience, to include myself. It won't register anything. When I first started doing lives, the universe was checking to see if I was going to keep doing it. My live would freeze every 15 minutes, and I would have to go out and come back in. That happened for months. For months. I forgot about it, but I saw an old video on my phone that said my live freezes every 13 to 15 minutes. You stay here. There you go. Doing your best no matter what's going on. Okay, thank you all for answering the question. Now, the other reason why I have this format on TikTok is because what happens is when you actually answer questions, you actually close a reward loop and you get a natural release of dopamine in the nucleus accumbens for thinking about the answer and then answering the question yourself. So if you notice that it feels different over here when you're answering questions, that is why. Your brain is like, ooh, a question. Ooh, let me answer it. And then your brain gets accustomed to answering questions. That's a new neural pathway that you are creating. So it's a natural release. That's why I have a question of the day on, same question, on Threads, Lemonade, TikTok, and one more place. Sometimes I put it on YouTube. So that question is there and I just heard it. And I'm sure people are like, why is she responding? Because I'm actually giving you your own natural release of dopamine without saying, hey, I'm about to give you some dopamine. Here you go. You just answer the question. And now you're like, oh, I forgot about that. I remember my first car was, no, I don't live in my same small town. So it's actually working. So I'm out there doing the Lord's work. Okay. My definition of excellence is that it's just several words. Empowering. So empowering others and myself is excellence, because you have to be excellent in order to empower other people. You already have to be at this high level of cognition to give empowerment to other people. Be the best is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And this one I thought about, all of these I thought about last night. It looks effortless. When you see something that's excellent, it looks effortless. And that shows you how much effort actually went into it. I told y'all my lives start, and my pile is getting bigger because I'm reading more books. The lives start with a post-it. And by the time you all get to it, it's an hour and a half of information. And it's not on what I'm reading from chat. Y'all know what I'm reading. And it's not in my notebook. It's up here from all of these years of me doing what I'm doing. So you don't even think about it. You're like, okay, that's our lesson. All right. I'm not like, and then the brain said, oh, wait, hold up. Oh, shit. Where? Effortless. Next is disciplined. Today is day number 837. I believe my notebook is closed of me going live. That's a lot of lives because I'm twice a day now. So it's over 1,000 lives. And it's not the same message. It's a disciplined message that it keeps expanding exponentially. And it's seamless. You come here, I have information for you. So unless the app that we're on glitches, we're in, we're out, and it is literally fluid. Next is efficient. I am efficient with the information that I have, and it is effective as well because I'm taking these very scientific terms and this confusing organ that we have in our body, and I'm presenting it to you every day so it's palatable for you, so you can actually use what I'm saying. You can leave with some new information that you can apply instantly. It's also intriguing. Hey, you never know what I'm going to say. You have no idea what's going to take place. Am I going to sing? Am I going to crack a joke? Am I going to have a PTSD moment and have some trauma that shows up? Who knows? But it's definitely not a dull moment over here. You just, on paper, yes, so she talk about the brain. Everybody's like, eh. Then you get over here, you're like, oh, this is fun. This is intriguing. It's otherworldly and awe-inspiring. It's this concept of, I have an amazing brain. I got 86 billion neurons and I can access them. And all these things that were eluding me in my past no longer have to be this figment of my imagination. I can actually access them on the daily basis. So here, that was Dr. Donna's definition. And now here's the neuroscience behind it. Excellence is a predictive standard encoded in the prefrontal cortex. It's not encoded in the limbic system. It's not encoded in the temporal lobe. So that means it's not Amy and Lala. That's not excellence. It's not with this low emotional baseline. It is encoded, thank you, Jared, in the prefrontal cortex. So it's not a feeling. And it's not, wait for this. This is what throws everybody off. When people have been on my live and they've told me they got an MBA and I said, that ain't shit. It's not success. It's not success. And it's not credentials. It is a stable internal performance model the brain uses to evaluate behaviors. Because once you get the degree, you got the degree. Now, what are you doing with the degree? It is your behavior internally. What are you going to do? Now, I told y'all this Las Vegas win ain't no damn joke. And I told y'all I almost lost the wig in the Target parking lot when I first moved here because I didn't know about windy February, March. So yesterday we had one of those windstorms, and it's so strong. Okay, Lacey. So it's so strong that we were at an appointment, a previous existing client, Nola talked about it in her neuro reps, and Tuesday is our trash day. They live like 2 miles away from us. So I went outside, and one of their trash cans was right next to Nola's vehicle. It had flipped over. Then I looked down the street, and everybody's trash can was down the street. So I went and moved it, because I'm like, people going to come home from school and everywhere else, and these trash cans are going to be everywhere. So I took their trash cans and put them on the side of the house, and they have a keypad to get into the gate. So I asked them what's the code so I could put it in there. But then I went back outside, and I noticed that their neighbor across the street, their recycle bin hadn't been picked up, and for some reason. So their trash was all over their yard, and I was waiting for Nola to finish something. So I went outside with my box cutter and my contractor bags, and I cut up the boxes, put them in a bag, and put them back in their recycle bin, and put both of the trash cans together because the wind couldn't move them. And then a third time I went out there, and another trash can that I moved had been back out in the middle of the street, so I put it with somebody else's trash can. Now we get home, and now we don't have a trash can, and we don't know where our trash can is, and we live in a gated community. And my neighbor down the street, he walked past our house and around the corner to get his trash can. So that's how severe this wind is. So I had to call Republic. We get a new trash can. We got some extra trash cans in the garage. But why am I telling you this? Because excellence is in your daily. Now, that's not my client. That's my daughter's client. Those people will never know. They go get home and be like, who bagged up our trash? And that's okay. And I'm not telling you this story so you can be like, kudos to me, but it's the right thing to do, and it's excellence. I would have wanted someone to do that for me. If I had a guy, they'd be like, dang, their trash is all over the street. Let's clear this up, because it was debris. It's a whole big Republic recycle bin, so it was all over the yard and everywhere else. That's excellence. That's doing the right thing when nobody else is watching. Because I was saying, I was like, hey, they're going to come home from work or school, and it might be dark by the time they get home, and now they got trash all over everywhere because it still gets dark early, about like 5:15. So who knows? That's excellence. Dr. Donna ain't got to cut up nobody's trash. I don't have to go, but it's safety. It's always been a thing for me. So I'm going to always do the safe thing first. And that was a safety hazard, and the wind did not stop until last night, and now it's raining. So my point is, when you do excellence, it's in everything that you do. It's in everything. And one of the neighbors, the guy looked at me, he knew I didn't live in that house. And he looking like, what the hell is she doing? And I got as much up as I possibly could, because some stuff was just in the thickets. I'm like, I'm not about to be, I'm old. I can't be under the bush trying to get all of that out of there. So my point is, when you are in excellence, Greater Than Yourself is a beautiful book, and it shows you how much more, in order for you to do something like that, you got to have a lot of neurological strength. Because we had just finished a long project of organizing the husband's office, and the wife thought we were going to have to take 2 days to do it, and got done in about 4.5 hours. So she was just like, I really thought y'all was going to be here 2 days. That wasn't going to happen. Greater Than Yourself is the name of the book. So that's what I'm saying about excellence. Excellence in everything that you do. I'm not telling you to go around and start cutting people's grass. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, when you are who you are, I couldn't sit there and while I'm waiting, I had about 10 minutes. I was like, let me just go outside and cut this box up for them, these boxes, and put this back. So when they come home, their trash cans are here. And then the thing is, Republic tells you don't put your address on there. But if we didn't have our address on ours, we wouldn't know what recycle bin. And the only that was ours. And the only reason why our neighbor knew that was his, he said, because he had a cut on the back of it. Because it's just them serial numbers. Who the hell remembers that? So the point is that when you are doing something excellence, it's a behavior. It's an internal performance model that you have. I am the standard by which excellence is measured. Nobody else. I'm excellent in everything that I do. So the brain builds standards in the medial prefrontal cortex for self-referencing. What is my standard of excellence? That's why I asked you in the beginning, what's your definition of excellence? The orbital frontal cortex, which we were talking about this week on YouTube, value assignments. Is this still worth it? Is this still excellence? And your anterior cingulate cortex, Ms. Brenda Jones, is a conflict detection versus standard. My standard is excellence, and I could not stand there knowing that that trash was all over the place and it could continue to blow in the street. Now you driving and you trying to go around an Amazon box. It just didn't meet my standards, because at Frito-Lay and in the Army, we have to clean up so everybody can be safe. And that kicked in for me, which is why I never lost a soldier and I never lost an employee to some type of safety incident. So it goes way, way, way back to 1990 when I started basic training in June at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. So if a person cannot define excellence clearly, and this is a question that you can ask the people around you, what is your definition of excellence? And if they say money, done. Ain't nobody said nothing about no bread. So if the person defaults to social comparisons, emotional baseline, or immediate rewards, you know that they are not high functioning. At most, they are talking about success, but that's not excellence. It is internal. It is everything that you do. Everything that you do. And so this is a survival warning, not excellence wiring. So for that person who is socially comparing, emotional baseline is low, and immediate rewards, their dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is at a standard definition. It's the rule. This is it. It's like this boring ass shit. Ventral medial prefrontal cortex, self-identity alignment is not aligned. The orbital frontal cortex is value the weighting, but it's not saying, do I need to update my excellence definition? The ACC has some discrepancy detection, but they're not meeting the standard. And then the default mode network, the narrative identity formation. Well, everybody has an off day. You've been off for about 15 years, so. Everybody can't be great all the time. Why? Who said that? Why can't you? I went to the dentist last Wednesday, and by Thursday, I was talking. I got to go to the dentist again today. And unless I'm dead, I will be back tomorrow, doing my best to talk and give you the information. I'm the one that fucked my teeth up. You don't deserve to not have a life because I didn't take care of my teeth. That's not excellence. When I had 19 wounds with skin missing on my hands, I still shined my boots. The only thing I didn't do was go to PT. I drove with the palm of this hand because it was bad on this palm and bad on these fingers. And so I drove with these fingers and the palm of this hand. I lived off post. I still shined my boots. They wasn't spit shine, but they would still shine. Still, at that time, I had hair. I was still combing my hair. I was still breaking starch with my uniform. I was a little bit slow. And I took my shower with those doggone yellow, I take baths, those yellow cleaning gloves that you use to wash the dishes with, because my hands were so messed up. I had to put rubber bands around it, wash everything up, and then put that saline stuff on it and wait for my hands to scab over. So excellence is excellence. No matter what. Ain't no excuses over here. No excuses. Now, how do you build excellence? That's question number 2. So before you answer, remember to put your ... your ellipse, your thinking brain, your emoji, your buffering, whatever it is, so that I know who's available to answer the question. Question number 2, how do you build excellence? Daisy's thinking, Denise is thinking, Jared is thinking. Tiffany is thinking. Bridget is thinking. You build excellence daily. This is coming from Daisy. Lacey is thinking. Tiffany said repetition. Jared said developing great habits daily. I'll grab my notebook to make sure it's 8:37. Yeah, I'm correct. Nurse Wells is thinking. And I know what RN, that's registered nurse. Nurse Wells, what is BSN? You can answer the first question first. Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. Got it. Okay. You like that. Repeating great thoughts, habits, and actions is coming from Lacey. And then Nurse Wells and Bridget. And we know for me, a second mile service coming from the Ritz-Carlton and the principle of real leadership, go above and beyond consistently all the time, in spite of how you feel. Fuck your feelings. Those are yours. In a dysregulated brain, feelings come first because of the low emotional baseline. In a regulated brain, you contain your own feelings, you process them yourself, and no one else has to be on the receiving end of your emotionalizing. Bridget said you build by being consistent and presenting yourself as the best version of yourself and doing your best. Yes, ma'am. And Denise and Nurse Wells, renewing your mind is what real Nurse Wells has said. And then Lacey. Desmond, you still here, sir? Y'all hear that? My shoulder was popping. It's on and popping. My joints be popping. Best mind shouldn't allow this haircut. Okay. So we are waiting on Lacey and Desmond. Lacey, did you type it? Because it might not just be showing up. Okay. Okay, y'all aren't showing up for the sake of time. There we go. All right. Okay. I like the mute button better than the block button. All right. So according to neuroscience, excellence is built through repeated friction with self-imposed standards. Repeated friction with self-imposed standards. So I do that a lot. I was posting on Instagram, as you know, for 8.5 years before I had a post go viral. At that time, when a post went viral in June of 2024, I was posting on 13 different social media accounts for a total of 103 to sometimes up to 115 times a day. Repeated friction with self-imposed standards. Self-imposed standards. I don't have to get up at 3. I can pick whatever time I want to do this live. I don't have to do 2 lives. I don't have to be live for an hour and then an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. I don't have to do that. But that's where my brain is at. That's how much information I have to be able to share with you all. I'm like that. So neurobiologically is this. Effortful control. And that's the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex activating. That's Miss Darlene. Error detection in the dorsal ACC for activation. Emotional regulation. You cannot be excellent with a low emotional baseline. Your emotions have to be regulated. There's no way to get to excellence otherwise. And then habit consolidation in the basal ganglia. I was getting up at 4 from June of 2016. And I think about 2021, 2022, somewhere around there, it turned to 3 a.m. and have been every day, 7 days a week for all those years, getting ready to be 10 years at 4 a.m. and then about 5 or 7 at that. I have to think about it to really understand. how long, but that's habit, whether we spring forward or fall back. Excellence is not motivation, and that's what people get confused by. It's neuroplasticity under resistance. And here's the thing that I would like to say before I move on. People expect excellence in a certain few areas. Entertainers, athletes, politicians, and then air traffic controllers, firefighters, surgeons. But people don't expect excellence in their family members, in their offspring, in their friends. You let it go. Why? Because it's under resistance. It's friction. Remember, I said if you got two sticks and you rub them together, you need friction in the sun, some type of heating source for it to go, for there to be. Action potential is how you actually get neurons to fire and wire in your brain in order for them to connect. And if you don't sustain that connection, they will fire and wire and fizzle. Milliseconds, they could be together and gone. So it takes a lot to be excellence. It takes neural strength to have friction. You got to be strong. When you're doing weight training, you got to be strong to lift up weights. And that's what's happening in your brain is neural friction. And people can't take that. That's why they're not excellent. And so they settle on success, because success, if you don't know it, looks like excellence. So I remember, I'm from Detroit. I remember when the 300M came out and Cat Williams said, the 300M looks like a phantom until a phantom pulls up. So you think you a 300M and then a phantom pulls up. I see phantoms damn near every day, and they don't look the same. They don't look the same at all. But that's excellence. The 300M, it was a cool car. People still have it, but it's not a phantom. And so you settle. You put your rims on. You're pulling up with and get the windows tinted and everything. That grill. Okay. Until a phantom shows up, and then you go, yeah, that's not the same. So people have settled on excellence, and that's why they say, well, I got a car, I got a house. Look at this. Look at my shoes. Look at my boo. Get me more watches and ooh, and that billionaires list. They don't have the neuro billionaires list because there wouldn't be nobody on it but me. Using your brain to its fullest capacity. Everybody would be. There would be 5 people on that list. And that's it. So we have magnified success and said everything else is normal. You don't get along with your family. You don't get along with your kids, but you still got to help. Why? So excellence is not motivation. It's neuroplasticity under resistance. So when friction is tolerated instead of avoided, myelination strengthens circuits. And so let me tell you what myelination is. Myelination is the covering on your nerves to make them move faster. So when they move faster, you get more effective and stronger. So those connections are happening like this. And when you don't have the myelin covering, it takes longer for that transmission to take place. So think of it as the express lane on the highway and being on a bus. You're going to get there, but it's going to take you way longer to get there. So you got cortical control over your limbic impulses. It increases. So what is that? That means Amy and Lala can't come and start talking you into stuff. Set y'all asses down. I got to use my prefrontal cortex. And behavioral consistency becomes automatic. I saw a safety violation yesterday. I had time to rectify it, so I did. And then I went back doing what I was doing. That's what I do. If a troll comes over here, got to get rid of you, let's get back on task. So the circuits engaged in this are the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is top-down regulation. We're going to be talking about that on YouTube. You got the DACC, and that's that effort monitoring, making sure that this is matching. And then you got the SGACC, that's that emotional baseline stabilization where you're sitting at neutral. You're at neutral. From neutral, you can go all kind of places. The insula is that internal discomfort awareness. And I've said this, I specialize in discomfort. Get comfortable being discomforted. That's how you get to excellence. So everybody can be excellent. And watch this, and I might piss some people off, and that will be a good thing. Ain't nobody excellent. Even the athletes, even the people that you see, even the Oscars and the Grammys and all of these things, these shows, ain't nobody operating at excellence. Become excellence and you'll see why. You'll be like, oh, they phoning it in. Oh, they phoning it in. Oh, that ain't nothing. But when you only have what's available, you start comparing what's available instead of, is that excellence? And when you have your definition of excellence, and most of you said daily in repetition, put those excellent lenses on and then see if it's excellent. They've been doing this for 30 years. The exact same thing. No improvement. I said, what's his name? Got Big Booty B as a song, not Genuine, Juvenile. And then Nola brought it to my attention. She said, didn't he make a song about a butt back in the 90s? And then she said, back that thing. I said, Lord, yes, he did. He done came back with another booty song. It ain't. Okay, got it. It's not excellent. And it's a shorter version of the song, too. So the internal discomfort awareness says I'm discomforted. I don't have a background in neuroscience. I did my brain project, went did some other things, found the brain certificate from the Science Olympiad, but now I'm studying neuroscience and have been and will continue to do so until I have all the information that I need. Then I will switch and get information from a different source. And then the basal ganglia is the habit encoding. So my third question to you is, what takes place when you compromise your excellence? What takes place when you compromise your excellence? I break out in hives. People in turn talk me out my standards forever. If you would just, okay. You just asking for too much. And I knew instinctively I wasn't. Everybody can't be like you. Why not? And I ain't saying be like me. I'm saying be excellent like you. That's what I'm saying. Don't be me. We don't need another Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers in the world. One is plenty. But what we do need is the excellence coming out of you. It's lazy. You don't want that friction. You don't want to have to be discomforted when your brain is wired for comfort and survival on a daily basis. This takes effort every day. That's why I said I'm the baddest mofo walking the face of the planet Earth. Ain't nobody got as much discipline as me. Daily discipline. I think if the baddest person, if they came and did what I did for 30 days, they would be like, listen, okay, she ain't got no vices. I'm not quite sure how she does it because it's up here. Lose their mind. We have had people, contractors, try to do work with us, or people at their houses stuck in a comfort zone. You don't live to your fullest. And we have warned them out. They're like, y'all ain't going to take a lunch break? I have to take a lunch break now so I won't get heartburn. But before, it's like, no, we good. Y'all going, we got a protein bar right here and some Gatorade. Let's keep getting this done. Wore them out. Unbelievable. Man, it's sweating, hot, out of shape. Because lifting up furniture and things like that and standing for 6, 7, 12 hours, Nurse Wells, that ain't for the faint of heart, the weak and weary. Tiffany said, I believe that you become internally lazy and insufficient. Yes, you don't live to your fullest potential, Nurse Wells said. You do not. And your stuck Malays and Stans, that's your stuck family and stuck friends, allow you to make it acceptable. Making excuses. That is correct. And why do you do it? Because you don't, identity protection. The return of Lazy J. Yeah, that's what it is. And you do it. And part of the reason why, let me say this as a side note, and I know I'm going to go over, I got it. Part of the reason why excellence stops, wait for it, because in the past, when you were supposed to get that skill set, you were supposed to get rid of that person, you were supposed to attack that fear, you didn't. And now, like in a video game, where you were supposed to go pick up that shovel and you didn't, now you got to dig and you don't have it. You ain't actually got what you need for the thing in order for you to achieve excellence. I don't get to become Dr. Donna if I didn't teach myself how to read in college. The degrees only got harder. So you become complacent and not efficient. Feels like self-betrayal. Exactly. So then you start excuse lying. And now you start credit and blame. You go back to that low emotional baseline. Well, if they had it at the job, because then that, no. Because I didn't know nothing about neuroscience 15 months ago. I mean, I knew a little bit, but I didn't know anything about the brain to the level that I can explain to y'all today. So I was already Dr. Donna. I could have took that surface level information. I didn't have to deep dive. I don't have to be in my 5th neuroscience class to be me. I'm still me. But I went on ahead and did it. And right now, she keep pulling out this damn brain and this dural matter. And I keep, Nola, hear me. I'm taking my nose, gagging, brain dripping, because she done took it out of a see, look, she open it and pull it. I'm like, I had to just stop, turn the fan on. I'm having a hot flash. And still, I ain't even halfway through yet. It's 10 modules. I'm on module 5 now. I should finish it up this week. Well, probably earlier because there's less videos in this one lesson we talk about hearing. But that's what I'm doing to give y'all this information. And sometimes I can go through a whole module. It could be 20, 26 videos, lessons, and I might get 2 things for y'all. And I just watch her do all kind of stuff, all kind of everything. I'm stopping friction. Chat is saying it's friction, but you got to do it. Because I need to know how this amazing organ works as it stands with my own research. So when compromise activates, your reward overstanding switches. And so the orbital frontal cortex recalculates the value. The ACC reduces conflict by adjusting the standard downward. Well, I ain't got to get up at 3 o'clock every day. You know, I can do it Monday through Friday. That's why people ask me, when you live? Every day? Every day at the same time, if I'm vertical, every day. The basal ganglia encodes the easier behavior. I know I said I was going to lose 20 pounds, but 10 is good. 10, I can still, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got a fupa no more, so I don't have to let this playground no more. So 10 pounds is good because, you know, you don't want to be, it's winter. You don't want to be too thin in the winter. You need a little bit of insulation. It's cold outside. So you start lowering the standard. Lowering the standard. And then, as I say, and I have a quote, low standards is too close to no standards. If you're sitting on the curb, if you fall on the ground, you already down there. You said, just got to lay down. That's it. That's why people go between regular and success. Because it's easier to go from success back to regular. But if you at excellence and you fall, that shit going to hurt. You're going to break something on the way down. You high enough, woo. Yeah, so repeated compromise leads to reduced prefrontal activation. You can't use your PFC. You done compromised it. That's why you can't think straight. Because you can't think because you lowered the standard. You increased your limbic dominance. That's why Amy and Lala are emotionalizing everything, because you lowered your standard. So you ain't thinking at a high level, behaving at a high level, ain't no friction. And now Jared is at the vending machine eating honey buns. Bridget is eating, I think, cranberry juice that she's not supposed to be drinking. And then emotional baseline goes lower too. Right. It's wired for survival and not excellence. It's a DIY project. You got to wire your brain for excellence. And then lower conflict sensitivity. So you can't handle conflict when it occurs at this high level. That's why handle conflict when it occurs is one of the principles of real leadership. You lowered your standards. That's how you got there. Damn you, brain. But as the person told us on the live yesterday, you just got to take some lion's mane. Ain't that what they said? Just got to take some protein, some peptides. That's all you need. Sounds ludicrous today, doesn't it? So the brain protects comfort over growth, unless trained otherwise. You're going to protect your low limbic living life. That's why you got so much strife. Compromise is not neutral. It's neurowiring. So you're going to go back to wire your brain for the thing that it came here to be wired for. And then you're going to go do something that gets you a little bit of success and say, see, I ain't no failure. Yes, you are. You wasn't never supposed to be successful. Excellence in everything that you do. Never be the best. I don't have, well, be almost your best. Be at your best. Get to your best if you can is not one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So the circuits engaged in your compromise is your orbital frontal cortex. Value recalibration, 10 pounds instead of 30 pounds. He ain't that insignificant. He all right. So you settle for a sneaky leak, a side piece, a jump off, friends with benefits. That's what you do. I got 17 more years till retirement. I'm going to go ahead and stay at the job. Ventromedial prefrontal cortex, identity shift. You stop saying I'm a bad mofo and you say, well, I don't want to be a bad mofo. A good person. I just want to be nice. I just want to be, I don't curse no more. So, do you really want to be a motherfucker? Yep, a bad one. No, because see, you're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm perimenopausal. I got to make sure I got time for my hot flashes. You know what I'm saying? My dry, itchy skin. I need all of that. And I got frozen cold shoulder and I got frozen left cold shoulder too. So, yeah, ain't nobody trying. She doing too much over there. ACC, especially the CACC, which is what you need, your cognitive ACC, to shut your SGACC and your VACC up, has conflicts of depression, and Miss Brenda Jones retires. And now Becky then took all the way over, and you are going ham and burger on comfort. You done redecorated your comfort zone. The nucleus accumbens, where you got that natural release of dopamine, has reward bias, and you start getting rewarded for philosophizing. You start getting rewarded for these new fat food recipes that you just start making for yourself. You start getting rewarded for how good you look and your size 40. Your size 22. You got some tig old bitties now, and that's okay, because you just gonna push them up and show them to everybody. Show them what you're working with. And the amygdala. Short-term relief reinforcement. The amygdala is going to say, you need 3 honey buns today, Lazy J. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You need a treat at break, lunch, and second break. Because you doing that right now. 'Tis the season to be eating sugar. Fuck your liver. That's what's happening. So question number 4 as we come around home base, third base to go home. What do you do daily to strengthen your excellence? And be honest, because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And it's in excellence in everything that you do. Excellence in everything that you do. What do you do? Me, I start my morning at 3 a.m. and I challenge myself until I go to bed between 9 and 10. All day. All day. What about this? What can I do this? Let me do this. Challenge myself all day long. Push it to the limit. Take it to the limit. Yeah! It's from Scarface. In everything. Yesterday, I did not feel like I didn't get to my class on Monday and 16 video lessons in this module. So I missed Monday. Yesterday was Tuesday. I did 8 lessons yesterday after the appointment. After walking the neighborhood trying to find our trash can. Excellence. And read half of my second children's book, because these are due on the 28th. I'm going to read the other half today because I don't go to the dentist. Thank you, Jared. I don't go to the dentist until 11 a.m. So we're leaving at 10:25. So I'm going to finish this book and I might start another one. So excellence in everything that you do. I manage my own lives. I manage my own content. I'm the one to type up shit. So if it's a spelling error or typo, that came from me. Everything. I remember I had somebody literally working at Twitter told me with a PhD in some type of social media thing, you can't post every day on social media. I've been doing it. I'm years in. I've been on Instagram since December 16, 2015, every day. And they looked at that time, I probably had like 12,000 Instagram posts. I was like, okay. Roger that. Roger that. That's not how it works. Okay, cool. Got it. So what do you do daily to strengthen your brain? You strengthen your excellence, which is basically your brain. So now y'all understand. You keep lowering your standards. You weakened your prefrontal cortex because you didn't want friction. Because you skipped the line and left the skills behind on all them other times. Now you got this weak ass mind. And no, it's not fine. It's not. It's unacceptable. It's 1,000% unacceptable. You caused it. You solve it. You did that to yourself. Now y'all see why I ain't got no empathy and no sympathy for nobody. You don't understand. Yes, I do. I understand that you stopped. Quitting is not an option. That's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And failure. Quitters never win, and failure is not an option. And failure is not an option is the principle of real leadership that we are inculcating into the OFC and the ACC on YouTube this morning. That's what's happening. So it's on you, boo-boo. And that's true. And that's why the universe picked a everyday, regular, degular, schmegular person to say everything. No silver spoon in my mouth, none of that. Got to start it from the bottom. Now I'm here. Now you can't say anything. I had to wire my brain for everything. Well, everybody does, because we are at a disadvantage. So what do you do daily to strengthen your excellence? What do you do daily? No Ricky Short over here. No, sir. Jared, did you put your answer? Because I didn't see it if it was there. What do you do daily to strengthen your excellence? What do you do daily? And if you don't have it, it's okay. Be honest. Neuro reps and read. Don't you habla español? You don't do your Spanish lessons every day? I watch your videos. All right, Desmond. What's your favorite video of mine? Which one resonated the most with you? I consciously think about the task and goals and now started raising my standards. Yes, ma'am. You got big shit to do, Tiffany. Doing my best with everything I touch. You like Midas? Got the Midas touch. Everything I touch turns to gold, turns to gold. Read material outside of my comfort zone. This is my favorite video. Thank you. Duolingo, neuro rep, study and drink electrolyte water. Sí, practico español todos los días. Yes, and sí, and ya, and we. Okay, I think Desmond is the only one. No, yeah, he said I watch your videos. All right, cool. So here's the neuroscience behind it. Daily strengthening requires repetition. As Tiffany said, I'm still learning, but I stopped watching mindless videos and tune out negative stuff. Yes, that's the best way to stop strengthening your limbic system. Conscious correction and emotional neutrality during friction. That's why you got to get to a neutral emotional baseline, because friction ain't no joke. And you can't have a low emotional baseline and go for excellence. That friction is what's going to put you back behind. You're going to stop listening and strengthen your prefrontal cortex, and you're going to acquiesce. 10 significant seconds of silence. Yes, Jared as well. So this keeps the ACC active without emotional overload. It stabilizes the SGACC at neutral, and it increases cortical thickness over time in regulatory networks. That's what's happening in your amazing brain. And daily discipline strengthens executive control. The executive control center of executive function of your brain is basically the CPU. It's telling everything what to do, and you need it to operate day in and day out. Identity consistency. Here's what's happening too. And no, I'm running over. But your personality is in your prefrontal cortex. So when you stop strengthening your prefrontal cortex and you opt for comfort, you turn into somebody else. And that's why you end up overweight. That's why you end up looking different, because that's not you. That's not the real you. You had to turn into somebody else in order for your limbic system to take over, and Lazy J shows up instead of Jay the Finisher. You trying to figure out why you can't get... I know Lacey like, oh my God. because that's not the real you. The real you is in your prefrontal cortex and your frontal lobe. That's why you can't, and you trying to figure out, I remember when okay, well, when did you lower your standards? You want to know when you philosophize? You want to know when you start looking like somebody else? Just go back to when you lowered your standard. Good morning, Kia. Okay, well, don't get fired. You can watch the replay of YouTube. So that's when that happened, right? That's when that happened. So if you want to know where the real you is, it's up here. It's up here. So you're going to have to go back and start having friction. You're going to have to start having friction if you want to go back and access the real you. And then predictive stability. That means you got to predict. I'm going to wake up every day and do my neural reps. I'm going to wake up every day and exercise. I'm going to wake up every day and eat the proper foods. Daisy is always saying what she made and ensuring that her diet is where it needs to be. But you could take some lion's mane. Somebody asked me about supplements. Okay, what you supplementing? You stopped being you. You stopped the neural pathways. You stopped creating new synaptic connections and new neural pathways. What are you supplementing? Nothing. Comfort from comfort leaves comfort. Ain't nothing to supplement. The couch. You got two moves. You go from the couch to the kitchen. That's it. I didn't even realize I needed a standard. No wonder. Yes. Wild yam. Is that something too? Excellence becomes automatic when the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia transfer is complete. This is when standards become your identity. And the circuits engaged is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. That's Ms. Darlene. That's conscious execution every day, all day. ACC and all its subdivisions, monitoring. Is this the right standard? The SGACC, emotional neutrality. That's why you got to be at emotional neutralness. Because when you got low emotions, ghrelin comes, and you're eating too much. And you ain't burning it off because you're not learning anything. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting and eating. The insula is the interoceptive awareness. That's going within. The basal ganglia is automaticity. That means you do it automatically. AUT-omatic. And then the cerebellum is the precision refinement. So excellence is not a personality trait. It's a trained neural pattern. Trained neural pattern. The brain is wired for survival. You have to DIY it for excellence. If you cannot define it, you can't build it. If you cannot build it, your brain defaults to survival. If you compromise it, your brain rewires downward. And if you strengthen it daily, it becomes your identity. Excellence. Somebody say, Dr. Donna, you're like, oh yeah, we already know. This directly aligns with a trained brain is a predictable brain. A stable ACC equals stable standards. And a neutral SGACC equals optimal baseline. And it separates success wiring, which is some bullshit, and excellence wiring, which you've already identified, and I've already done this, as a critical distinction. So here, and I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to piss some, I know, thank you, Jerry, I'm done. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to piss some people off. They have this thing called Pepsi Pretty at Frito-Lay. And you will never see a person in a key leadership position at Frito-Lay that is overweight, unkempt, and disheveled. And there's a reason for that, because they have a concept of what excellence looks like. And so when someone is grossly overweight and they are telling me about their successes, I'm looking at them and I am saying it's not excellence. I'm saying that. And I'm not saying that everybody going to be a size 0 or 2. I got that. I got to drink Ensure half the time unless I'm just, I got to eat so much food to actually pack on the pounds. But if you were a size 10 and now you ain't, and you were 20, did you lower your standards to be successful? You said what? Did you lower your standards to be successful? Because how you get 10 sizes bigger? and you didn't have some debilitating disease and now you're on steroids and stuff. How you got a full bar at your house, successful. And I'm not saying you can't drink, because there are people who can, but why you got a whole full bar at your house? So when you strive for success, you actually are settling for less. Because you got to end up turning into somebody else to enter into those false bargains to drive that, to have that. But when you are yourself, it's beyond that. I ain't never entered into no false bargain. Everything I earned. No sycophanting over here. No brown nose and apple polishing, coffee with cream, code switching, none of that. Y'all saw me go to Dr. Donna Live. I'm giving a business presentation for the city of Las Vegas at a business meeting that was signed off by the city of Las Vegas, and I'm still me. That part. So that's why successful people got to show you they shit. Because they trying to make it seem like it was worth it, but it wasn't. Because they sitting there and something ain't right. They soul knows. That's why Floyd Mayweather got to keep showing everybody he on a yacht, he on a plane, he got watches, he got stacks of money and everything. I show y'all my sneakers because Jared and I and Nola are sneakerheads. And so and none of them sneakers are expensive. They less than $100. So this ain't like, look at this. I'll show it, my Gucci shoe, because that was for context for a story. But I'm not showing y'all, I ain't pulling up. I ain't sitting here with my full length bleach raccoon when it's cold outside and I'm sweating and shit to show y'all no. I ain't had to wear that coat since I've been here. But I got it in case I go somewhere cold. So you are successful. Why you look like that? Why you look haggard? Why you look 5 years older than you actually are, 10 years older than you actually are? Why? Because you settle for success instead of excellence. You didn't want that friction. They say you don't want that smoke. You don't want this friction. Because it requires discipline to be excellent. So you need neuro strength to be excellent. You can sycophant your way through a corporate ladder. Yes, you can. You can cheat your way, life hacks and all of that. That's why they keep saying, here go a life hack for this. Here go the cheat codes to make it look like you're doing something. Okay, why are you overweight then? Here's what I want y'all to do. Because I don't notice this until I'm at somebody's house because I don't have a television. And somebody shows a movie from the 90s. And then I realize we all used to be the same size. Me, Gabrielle Union, Taraji, Lisa, what's her name? Lisa Ray. We was all the same. Eve, Kelly Rose. We was all the same size in the 90s. And now we not. They're not zeros and twos. And everybody talking about how good they look. Really now? Well, you get older, you put on weight. Why? How you bigger than you used to be? I'm not talking about people who was already a 10 and a 12. You got hips. I understand that. But how you bigger? We was all the same size. How we not the same size? They all got more money than me. They got trainers and chefs and everything. What happened? They successful. Not excellent. Don't have a standard of excellence. That's why it's like, well, when you get older, no. Everybody got a little alcohol puff to them from drinking. So they look a little swollen, a little puffy puff from that. If it's working out, you can have a wine with your dinner. But if it's not, you're going to puffify. A little swollen in the face. A little extra. Men too. Go back. Look at how thin Lawrence Fishburne and Samuel L. Jackson and Denzel used to be. Why they that big? They didn't have the kids. Their spouses did. You can look at it for any ethnicity. Everybody has falsified. Why? Because that success is killing them softly. Settling leaves you so unsettled. So strive for excellence. Bypass success and go to excellence so you can be the real you. That's what you could do. No yo-yo dieting. You pick a size for this winter, fall. Pick a size for the spring, summer. And go do big shit instead of settling for success. I have 11 minutes and I will be on YouTube Live. The topic today is the OBC and the ACC with respect to the principle of real leadership. Failure is not an option. I will be back here tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have an excellent brain-tastic day. Take care. Adios.